What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Dynasty Coaches podcast. I'm your host, Coach Meany, Coach Dylan. Sorry, alongside Coach Nick and Coach Charlie. How you guys doing today?
Doing good. Doing good.
Doing real well, thanks everybody.
Good, good. So, we're trying to get into some Dynasty pieces here for you guys. We got a couple segments that we're hoping to line up, but the NFL is kind of going nuts these last couple weeks. So, we are going to start out by covering all the big signings, trades again. So we got some big ones in there. And then we're going to break down one of the rookies for you guys, get you guys ready for the draft. And then if there's time, we will go through some trades and give our stance on which side we take and why we would take that side. So let's go ahead and get into it here. We'll start with one of the biggest news items. Deshaun Watson traded to the Browns. And with that, Baker Mayfield has demanded a trade from the Browns. What do you guys think about it? Is Deshaun Watson the best quarterback in that division now?
Yeah, I believe so. Nothing on Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson's a beast, but when he was on the field, I saw what Deshaun Watson could do as an elite two-way player with the Texans and do it well with minimal talent around him. And just sometimes in Baltimore, we've kind of seen Lamar Jackson struggle a little bit throwing the football on different occasions here and there. So I think Watson's just a little more complete of a player, and he's going to excel in a system that should be built around him, Cleveland. So I think you could honestly go either way, but I lean towards Watson.
What about Joey Burrow?
He's right behind them for me.
Right behind him. Okay. Nick, what about you?
Yeah, I think for me, I'll respect what Joe Burrow has done in his first actual full season. I still think that he's third in that division. Are still there now. Obviously, Joe Burrow did what Lamar has struggled to do this and actually win a playoff game. But raw talent, I think Lamar is still right ahead of him. We'll kind of see what Burrow does. He goes out and repeats the season he had this last year, then I think you move above pretty easily. But Desean is obviously the king of that division now. To Charlie's point, what he did with, I'm being generous here, a meaty Houston offense. I mean, across the board, the line was bad, the running back was bad, the wide receivers were and then when they traded away, obviously our boy there, that was I mean, that's it. D-Hop's gone. There was nothing in Houston after that. So, I think Deshaun's the king of that because he took mediocre at best and made it good. I mean, there's so many games he just single-handedly won.
Yeah, I agree. I just want to see it first before I can say Deshaun Watson is better than Joe Burrow. I think he's definitely second for sure. But we'll see. He's going to have probably at least a 6-game suspension by the league, I would think. So we'll see. He may not even serve that this year, though. So
here's a thought. Do you think they hold on to Baker and try to make him play a 6-game suspension?
No, because they just signed Jacoby Brissett also because Baker's not going to stay. So, but the Browns have been a very heavy run-first offense since Baker started. Do you think that stays that way, or do you think it gets more of a 50-50 split?
We're going to see more of a split. We should see more of a split, especially considering Deshaun Watson's just ability with the ball in his hands, because we've seen him, he can throw 50 yards down the field with ease, and that's not something you should toss to the side for the sake of the run game. So while the Browns have a good run game, they shouldn't throw it away completely. It should be more of a 50-50 split because you want to use Deshaun Watson's best ability, which is him throwing the football. That's why they brought him in, because we saw Baker tend to struggle. But Deshaun Watson can do it a lot better. So throw the ball.
Yeah.
I agree. I think you're going to see a almost Kansas City where, Deshaun's going to get chances to make those dazzling plays, make those throws down deep, hit his talent. He has an offensive line going to give him all the time in the world. And then as soon as they back off the line to try to stop him, then you're going to see Chubb and Hunt go after it, and then they'll suck back up, and then Watson will throw it all over him all day long. I think you're going to see a much more balanced approach.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Watson is leagues ahead of Baker Mayfield in talent. And this, like you said, this is going to be the best offensive line that Watson's ever played with. In Houston, he was kind of running for his life every game. So the thing, though, is hopefully Amari Cooper can live up to half of what DeAndre Hopkins was for him in Houston. So, but last thing on this, do you think Baker Mayfield was a victim of the system being a run-first system? Do you think if he goes to more of a pass-heavy offense, he can still be something? I mean, he was that number 1 overall pick a couple years ago.
So I saw something that said Pittsburgh was really hyped on Baker Mayfield, and they would sign him if the opportunity came or if a trade was able to. I think they said if the Browns cut him that they would jump on him, but I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of faith in Baker's arm. I don't think the Browns so much did either. That's why they were such a run-heavy team. So is he a victim of the system, or is he a victim of his own faults, and then the team recognizing those faults and then correcting the system to try to make up for his faults? So I don't know. I think that if he goes to a team where it's a pass-heavy offense, I don't think it's going to do favors.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Nick on this one. Even if he goes to a system where he's going to get the chance to throw the ball a lot more, I just don't think that's going to help him at all. I think if anything, he's going to kind of expose his flaws a little more, because we saw in Cleveland they like to run the ball a lot in order to hide the weaknesses of Baker Mayfield. And because when he had to throw, it wasn't always the prettiest sight in the world. So giving him an opportunity in a system elsewhere might not be to his liking, or to his benefit, I should say.
I hear you. I think I said last week, maybe the week before, that he hadn't thrown a bunch of interceptions, but he actually did throw quite a bit whenever they let him throw. So he was more of a almost a same touchdown to interception ratio. So we'll see. Hopefully his career's not over, but I mean, who knows? Let's go ahead and move on. More quarterback news here. Matt Ryan traded to the Colts, and the Falcons sign Marcus Mariota to be their quarterback. First off, what's you guys' reactions, and then does Mariota have a chance to start for the Falcons, do you think?
Well, I do have to say I absolutely love that for the Colts and Matt Ryan.
I do too.
Because Matt Ryan's shown in the past that if you surround him with quality players, quality talent around him, he will succeed. But if he doesn't have anything around him like he did last year, he's going to struggle. Mm-hmm. And him in a situation in Indianapolis where you're giving him a top 5 offensive line, a stud running back in Jonathan Taylor, you already have a really good receiver in Michael Pittman. They're probably going to add some more weapons. He's gonna play well. He's going to be in a comfortable situation. They'll be able to play to his strengths. Because the Colts already had a well-constructed roster. That was just that one question mark, which was quarterback. And now they've solved that. And on another note, I absolutely love this for Michael Pittman. Just mentioned him before. It seems that the Colts want to kind of use him now with Matt Ryan there in the Julio Jones type of role. And we saw what Julio was able to do with that in fantasy for those several years with Matt Ryan. So however long Matt Ryan's in Indy, I'm absolutely loving Michael Pittman's value.
I love everything about the move for Matt Ryan. It's great. I think that if the Falcons were going to trade him, I think they did right by him by sending him to the Colts. I think they're an automatic competitor. They were last year. I think they're an automatic further competitor now with a bit more consistent quarterback in the backfield. Got playoff riding Jonathan Taylor, right? So I think with a quarterback that can also throw the ball still and has the mindset not make the mistakes that Carson Wentz was making, and he's not running for his life behind a shambled offensive line. I love the move from Matt Ryan. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I love this move also. I think this is definitely going to be the best offensive line that Matt Ryan has had to block for him in a long time. I think I saw something where he's going from the 27th ranked offensive line to the number 12th ranked offensive line last year. So it's what you want for an older quarterback. You want to keep him upright and keep him healthy. So, what do you guys think that Marcus Mariota is the shoe-in starter for the Falcons, or do you think that they go and draft a um, quarterback in the NFL draft, or even go after like a Jimmy Garoppolo or something?
Right now, I'm of the mind that they're going to stick with Mariota for this year, at least. 2022, we know the quarterback class, on paper isn't as strong as what it's likely to be in 2023, where you have your CJ Stroud and your other top prospects coming in. So I think if I were the Falcons, I would just let it ride with Mariota. It's a very bad team. You'll more than likely get a top 5 pick in the draft next year, and that should be enough to get you the QB.
Yeah, I tend to be of the same mindset as Charlie here. I think that they'll ride out Mariota. And if for whatever reason they do go and draft a quarterback this year, which I think would be the smart choice, I think you line up some of your different options for QB next year, like Charlie's saying. But even if they do, I still think Mariota's the day one starter, and it'll be whoever they bring in.
Yeah, I would definitely say I don't want them to draft a quarterback this year because they are setting themselves up perfectly for the number 1 overall pick next year. They and there's 2 great quarterbacks coming out, Stroud and the Bama kid. So their wide receiver core is probably the worst in football now, with Calvin Ridley being out for the year. So they're setting themselves up. Just suck this year and go out and get one of those guys. So moving on here, the only 2 quarterback news, we got 2 going back to the previous teams they were on. Fournette back with Tampa Bay, and Rashad Penny back with Seattle. What do you guys think of those?
I love that for Penny, especially, because we know Seattle is not trending in the right direction right now after the Russell Wilson trade. And unless they make any more changes, there's rumors about Baker, there's rumors about adding some type of other quarterback to the roster. But as of right now, Drew Lock would be the starting quarterback on week 1. And we know that he isn't the best option out there. He's got his weaknesses. So that means they're going to want to lean on the run game even more than they normally do, which we all know Pete Carroll absolutely loves. So I think that's a good sign for Rashad Penny. Obviously, Chris Carson is still there, but Penny wouldn't have come back if he didn't think he was going to get a sizable role. Plus, you never know with injuries. Carson has his injury history. Penny does as well. So there's the potential that one of them goes down and the other one could take over the 3-down back role. So that's also something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I like them. And I believe Charlie actually mentioned it with the unretirement of Tom Brady, that it was likely Fournette would come back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice for Fournette because you no longer have to deal with Ronald Jones because he's a free agent. And then I don't think Giovanni Bernard is back either. So he's the only back there right now.
So where does that – I got a question for you guys then. Where does that put Leonard Fournette in your running back rankings?
He's definitely – I think he's probably definitely a top 15 for sure, because they're going to have a great offense again. They're going to be scoring a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah, I think he could be top 10 for me potentially, to be honest.
Yeah, he's probably closer to top 10 than top 15.
Yeah.
I'd put him in my kind of my 11 spot, and then mid-season easily be in the top 10. I could definitely see that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we got 2 extremely big wide receiver moves here. Devonte Adams traded to the Raiders, and then what we just found out, a huge trade. Tyreek Hill was traded to the Dolphins. We'll start with Devonte Adams to the Raiders. What does this do for Adams' value? And then also on the flip side, what does this do for Carr's value?
Well, Devonte Adams is no longer a top 5 fantasy receiver. He's a top 10 fantasy receiver. Small dip. But obviously when you go from Aaron Rodgers to Derek Carr, you have to acknowledge there's a dip in quarterback play. But that being said, Derek Carr still knows how to throw the football. He can find his guys when they're open. Devonte Adams is going to be obviously the best option on that roster, so he's still going to give you very, very good value. And I honestly like this for the other weapons on the Vegas roster because Devonte Adams is going to be the one player that defenses are going to try and key in on. So this opens up more opportunities for Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah, I would say that Devonte Adams walks in as the best wide receiver to don a Raiders jersey in quite.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely the best that they've had. I mean, I don't even remember the last good one that they had. So, I wrote an article that's up right now that's saying I've seen a lot of people panicking on Adams because of this, but I mean he was the best receiver in the league for a reason. I know that he had Aaron Rodgers, but the guy is super talented. So he was peppered with targets in Green Bay. He's going to continue to be peppered with targets in Las Vegas. I mean, he's a different wide receiver than Hunter Renfrow. So
true. I just want to point out that I said when we started going through this whole negotiation with Adams that he would want to step out of the Aaron Rodgers shadow.
Was this that he wanted to step out of the Aaron Rodgers shadow, or was it more he wanted to go play with his quarterback?
He could do it. I just want to say and point out that I said that.
All right. The man. Impact on Green Bay. They're obviously going to need to go out and get some receivers in the draft here.
Yeah, that's just so mystifying to me because they brought back Aaron Rodgers. Immediately, Packers are going to be a contender. They want to contend. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to trade, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. And that leaves what? Amari Rodgers and a paper bag. I'm not.
Alan Lazard.
Yeah. Whatever. That's so awful.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Not great, and they're gonna have to pour a lot of assets into improving the weapons for Aaron Rodgers before this year because he can do some things, but he can only do so much without a good supporting cast around him. So I fully expect at least the first round pick, if not a second or third round pick as well, devoted to the wide receiver position in the NFL draft.
I say they don't go out and get him anything. Let's find out if Aaron Rodgers.
All right. We all know how you feel. Man.
Yeah, exactly. We can just skip you on anything Green Bay. All right. Moving.
Aaron Rodgers. Enough said.
Let's go to the Tyreek Hill news here. I have no clue what the Chiefs are doing. First of all, you have what is the best division of football right now, loading up on supreme talent. I mean, you might have four playoff teams out of this division, and they go and trade what's quite possibly their best asset. What are they doing, guys?
Yeah, Dylan, we were talking about this before the show. It just doesn't make any sense at all. One of your rivals just brought in a top 10 receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Your corresponding move is to, what's a great idea? Let's trade away Tyreek Hill. I don't know who the hell's running things over there in Kansas City because they're stupid. Oh God, stupid.
Yeah.
You're leaving. You still got Travis Kelce, so it's not like you're leaving Patrick Mahomes without anything. We all know what Travis Kelce can do.
They signed Juju too.
Yeah, and they just signed Juju, and they have, I guess, McCole Hardman, who hasn't really done much, but he's there.
Yeah.
It's just you don't trade away a game-breaking weapon like that when you're coming off of deep playoff runs. Super Bowl appearance. What are you doing? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Well, the same thing with the Packers trading away Devonte Adams. You don't trade away pieces that are going to help you win now when you're trying to contend. It defies logic.
Is Mahomes still a top 2 quarterback for you?
Yes, and this is funny because I was talking with some of my other friends we had this huge argument because one of them is just not a Patrick Mahomes guy at all, not a Patrick Mahomes believer, but we had this discussion, and we came to the general consensus that Patrick Mahomes is an elite QB, and he makes the players around him better. And it, for the most part, doesn't matter who's around him because he can carry a team by himself. Not every other quarterback is like that. So losing Tyreek Hill, while it's a blow to the Chiefs offense as a whole, I'm not going to change my QB rankings for Mahomes as of yet.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's kind of a very Peyton Manning-esque leader. He does make everything around him better. It doesn't matter who it is. They can walk into the building and be better. His little brother, that one. But anybody else, he makes better. So he's top 2 for me, no, but that's just me personally. I think stats would probably tell me otherwise, but I did not like the slump that I saw out of him last year, so I'm up in the fence. He's still definitely top 4 for me.
All right. I had him as my number 1. I'm going to drop him down to my number 2 for sure. I can't put him ahead of Josh Allen anymore with this news, but we'll see what he gets in the draft. I mean, they could go out and sign a big time wide receiver like a Treylon Burks or something, and that might change then. But what are the impact on Hill and Waddle? Does this affect Waddle a lot?
Well, Waddle's not going to be like the bona fide wide receiver 1 guy that we kind of thought he was going to be coming into this year because Tyreek Hill is also that. So I kind of think this makes both of them more of like a low-end wide receiver 1, maybe high-end wide receiver 2, because we still kind of don't know what Tua is all about. And it's going to be a new system as well. Sure, there might be some growing pains with that. And there's going to be a lot of mouths to feed in that system. We can't forget they just signed Cedric Wilson as well, and Mike Gesicki's around as well on the tag. There's a lot of weapons. So I don't think one guy is going to kind of take command and be the alpha. It's going to be spread out.
Yeah, I agree. I think Hill was always, now obviously 2 different positions, but Hill had Kelsey, right? So he always had a load share except that he wasn't going to be the primary guy. So I think he goes into this one with the same mentality. And I think while Waddle is still young compared to Tyreek, I think that Waddle showed us enough and showed the NFL world enough last year to get the man respect and to come in and be able to push that. I think the 2 of them will be having one.
Yeah, they're kind of the same type of receiver. I mean, they're both extremely fast. I know Hill was more of a deep threat, whereas Waddle was more of a slant and let's see what you can do in open space. But they're both extremely fast, so it's gonna be interesting to see how Miami uses them. Do they send them deep every play, or because they're gonna be able to burn most DBs on the field whenever they're on there. So we'll see.
Plan when they won their Super Bowl was just get the fastest wide receiver on the field and out there.
Yeah. Yep. Moving on here, Robert Woods traded to the Titans, and the Rams signed Allen Robinson. What do you guys think this does for the values of both of those guys?
Well, I just want to say it's about damn time Allen Robinson got a good quarterback.
Yeah, finally.
And, we saw what he could do. He put up numbers with Blake Bortles. He's putting up numbers with Mitchell Trubisky. And then Matt Nagy finally decided to ruin Allen Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
That one season in Chicago when Justin Fields came around, which, not on Justin Fields. I love Justin Fields. Matt Nagy was just an awful coach. So putting him on a team that with a great quarterback in Matthew Stafford, we know what he can do, and with an alpha wide receiver in Cooper Kupp, who's kind of going to help draw some of the attention away from him, I think that's a huge win, especially with Robert Woods now out of town. We'll get to him in a little bit. Allen Robinson lines up nicely as a wide receiver too, and I think he can put up kind of comparable numbers to what he's done in the past. Maybe not as a wide receiver 1, but a high-end wide receiver 2. I think is kind of comparable because we saw Robert Woods succeed with Cooper Kupp together in LA for the longest time. I think Allen Robinson can come in and basically do the same thing.
Yeah, I'm going to echo that sentiment. I think that it's going to be the tale of 2 players who have been in purgatory for so long, in Matthew Stafford and Allen Robinson. What they've both been looking for. I mean, look what Stafford did last year, finally out of the mire that was Detroit. It's a great for Robinson. I think it's a great turnaround, and hopefully he'll be able to get back on track with his career that we all hoped and had been sitting around waiting.
Yeah, I just hope it's not too late for Robinson. I mean, he's getting older. Hopefully the talent's still there, hopefully. So, what about Robert Woods? They just got rid of Julio Jones, so he's definitely the number 2. Does he have more upside than Julio last year?
I say yes. Woods is a little younger. I think his legs are fresher. And he doesn't have as much of an injury history as Julio did. Granted, Woods did have some bad ACL injury at the end of the year, which was unfortunate. But I think he'll be able to come in and be produced. He can kind of do a little bit of everything. He's a great route runner. And I think that's going to help Ryan Tannehill, who I've said before on this podcast, I expect a bounce back year from. So I think that'll help Woods a bit as well. So I like Woods this year for fantasy.
Yeah, I was always kind of up and down on Woods when he was in LA, especially after they brought in DJ. He was working his way out of there. So I think it's a great thing for Woods. I'm obviously much higher on the Allen Robinson upside in LA than I am with Woods in Tennessee. But at this point, he is the number 2 guy. I think he has a bit of a healthier history than Julio did. So I think he has good Tannehill.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's gonna be decent on the Titans. He definitely went down because you're going from Stafford to Tannehill, but at the same time, I do expect Tannehill to have a better season than he did last year. He was top 12 at least last 2 or 3 previous years before now. So I hope he gets back to that low end number 1 guy that he has been for the last couple of years. So. Couple other moves here. Juju to the Chiefs. Juju Smith-Schuster to the Chiefs. James Washington to the Cowboys. And then we'll get into some tight end stuff here. O.J. Howard signs with the Bills, and Robert Tonyan is back with the Packers. What are you guys' reaction to those? Gerald Everett signs with the Chargers too. Sorry about that.
I love especially in hindsight now after the Tyreek Hill trade, I love the move to get Juju. Because he came into the league, he exploded right away and put up some incredible numbers. So we know that he has the ability to, play as an wide receiver 1 league, and giving him the best quarterback he's ever played with, Patrick Mahomes, is only going to serve to increase his value. Like we said before, Patrick Mahomes just simply elevates the play of everybody around him. And Juju's a good route runner. He's kind of shifty. He can do those little short routes, stick routes. He's got speed, so he can take plays to the house. He's going to be a guy that Patrick Mahomes will simply find uses for. And in fantasy football, that's more than enough on the Chiefs.
Yeah, I like Juju. Especially considering the only thing I've really known Juju for over the last 2 years is playing video games. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's going to be a great. I think it's going to be another one of those things, kind of like you're talking about Allen Robinson, where hopefully he's still got takes to be elite, because now he has an opportunity to come back and prove to us all with the team still there and still has the talent.
Yeah, the only difference with Allen Robinson and Juju right now is Juju's still young. He's still only like 25, 26. He came in the league. I mean, he seems like he's been in the league longer, but he came in the league at like 20 years old. So he's still pretty young for a receiver. So we'll see what he can do finally. Like you said, he has the best quarterback that he's ever had. That's saying something, because Big Ben was something there for a while. So, but yeah, there's the news and notes for the NFL. We'll continue to keep you guys updated on that whenever we see them. But let's go ahead and get into our next segment here, our rookie breakdown. This week we're going to do Brian Robinson, running back for Alabama. He put up some pretty decent stats last year, or in college. 55 games over 5 years. He was there for 5 years. 545 attempts, 2,700 yards, 29 TDs. And then he also put up decent receiving numbers, 52 receptions, 446 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's a big back, 226 pounds, 3.05 pounds per inch. So he's actually pretty stocky. Alabama has had some big time running backs come out over the recent years. Mark Ingram, Trent Richardson, Eddie Lacy, TJ Yeldon, Kenyon Drake, Derrick Henry, Bo Scarborough, Damien Harris, Josh Jacobs, and then the most recent Najee Harris. Is he going to be one of the top backs coming out of Alabama, or do you guys think that he kind of fills in with the likes of like a Bo Scarborough or TJ Yeldon?
I think he's gonna find a place, find a team that will have some use for him because he was a redshirt senior, so this was really like the first year he got to kind of show out and show the football world what he had because he was behind Najee and Damien Harris and Josh Jacobs those years he was at Alabama, and he's a big guy, big frame, so he's kind of good in those like short yardage situations.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like to me, but he's also because I actually took the time last night to watch some of his game tape, and he's really good in pass protection. He's very adept at picking up, anyone who's blitzing in from the secondary or from the linebacker position, pick that up and give his quarterback enough time to get rid of the football. And, he's a good pass catcher, like you said, Dylan. He can do that as well. So he's a good all-around back, and frankly, every team could use that, even if you have an entrenched starter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think what impressed me the most when I was watching some of his game tape is the fact that when the pocket would break down and things weren't going right, he always found a way to give his quarterback an out. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Always saw developing, and he would slip under the line and give his quarterback an option to go to, or he'd hang back and give a pitch route to go to. He was very, very smart, very intelligent when he would be watching play and see that something wasn't going right, and he would bail around and give his quarterback a place to go with the ball. But he's a great runner, strong runner, breaks tackles, runs through people, and he's not CJ2K when it comes to the joystick, but he's shifty enough to get around people and make people stutter step and miss around. I think he's going to be a great prospect for a team that needs it, and even for a team like Charlie said who has an entrenched starter, I think he's going to be a great rotational player.
Yeah, I hear you. He's quick for his size too. He's 226 pounds, running a 4.53. Do you guys know what the adjusted 40-yard dash is? The weight adjusted 40-yard dash? You guys ever heard of that? No?
Nope.
All right. So there's something on PFF, an article that I read about a 4.53 is great for a back that's 226 pounds, but it's not so great for a back that's 200 pounds. All right. So the weight adjusted 40-yard dash takes into account the player's weight. So it's a simple formula. It's the player's weight times 200, and then divide that by the 40-yard dash to the fourth power. If you guys want to read more about it, it's on PFF, and I use that a lot. I found that anything over 100 is actually pretty good for a running back. So again, check that out if you get a chance. It's actually a pretty good read. But I take that into account whenever I'm evaluating these guys. Is 4.53 is great for a guy his size. Guys you get up there. AJ Dillon had another one, big guy, but he's fast for his size. So, but just kind of a side note here. So let's just get into the combine measurements while we're at that. 4.53, 40, 107.34 adjusted 40 time, 119 broad jump, and 30-inch vertical jump. So explosiveness with the broad jump and vertical jump is not great, but I think that he has more explosion than what you're seeing there. He's going to be definitely a between the tackles type of runner, I think. I don't think he's going to be that guy that breaks it outside a whole lot. So he's going to need to go to a team that has a good offensive line that can create holes for him, I believe. But I think a great team fit for him would be Houston Texans. He's going to have, they're in rebuild, obviously, but he's going to have, that's probably his best chance of a starting job, I think, at least. Other than that, Kansas City also, they're going to need a line, or they're going to need a back to help out Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So that's my two team fits for him. Who you guys got for team fits?
I could see the Falcons.
Falcons.
Potentially as a fit. Cordero Patterson is only there for 1 year. He's 31 years old.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to want to start reloading with cheap and inexpensive guys, to help build that offense back, and that fits the bill. And another team I could think of kind of sneaky is the Eagles, because I just also don't think that they're necessarily sold on Miles Sanders, and I think Robinson would make an excellent complement to Kenny Gainwell.
Might be a Jordan Howard type guy.
Mm-hmm. I like both of those. I like all your guys' teams realistically. I have a hard time doing team fits. I'm not the greatest at it, but I could see Houston, right? You don't need him to come up and rip the team up straight out of the gate. You can take some time and let him develop into the player that he can be by the time he's ready. I think Houston's a good fit for him.
Okay. Who you guys got as a player comp for him?
So a player comp that I had, he's obviously not the same size, not quite the same size, but similar build. I thought of Brandon Jacobs, honestly, because I remember watching Brandon Jacobs and the Giants all those years on those good Giants Super Bowl teams, and he was just an absolute beast. There's no other way to put it. He had unnatural size. He would, just power through guys in between the tackles, and when he needed to, he had decent value as a pass catcher. He was good in pass protection. I just thought that was something that makes sense. It was literally just the first thing that popped into mind for me.
Yeah, I was watching his college tape and then watching some other Alabama people. I figured I went with a theme. I went with other Alabama players just because there's so many good Alabama running backs. But watching him play, obviously he's a bigger than Mark Ingram, but his movements are kind of the same, not quite as shifty as Ingram was in college, but the put your nose down and just run through people, that same mentality that Mark had about wanting to deliver the hit instead of always being hit. So I like that one.
Yeah, I kind of went with the same thing with the Alabama guys. Like I say, he's going to be that guy that just puts his head down and runs right through the line, I think. So I got guys like Eddie Lacy. He's not as big as Eddie Lacy, but he's gonna pound the ball like Eddie Lacy did. Guys like Damien Harris. I think that that's a good comp to him. Somebody that Al Harris doesn't really catch the ball a whole lot out of the backfield, but I think that teams are going to use him a lot like those guys. So I don't think he's going to ever be a 3-down back, even though I think he probably could. I just don't see teams using big backs like that as their receiving downs back.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen a whole lot. So I think he's probably a first or second down back, and then red zone is where we're going to use him. So
who's the secondary running back in San Diego behind Eckler?
You got Justin Jackson and
I thought Justin Jackson was a free agent.
Is he? Then you got
let me double check.
And anybody better than this kid? Because that could be a spot.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd like that because he'd take touchdowns away from Eckler.
I didn't ask you if you'd like it.
I know. Let's see.
It's not about
Justin Jackson and I want to say Joshua Kelly.
Oh yeah, that's the other guy.
Yeah. So yeah, that could be a decent team fit for him. We'll see. So anything else you guys want to mention about him before we move on?
No, I'm good. I'm excited. I like these profiles that we're doing because people that I'm not really putting on my radar necessarily. So it was good to look him up and get to know him.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to be able to see if these guys can find a home, because you always want to root for the rookies.
Yeah. It's definitely going to matter about landing spot. All these rookies is definitely something can change drastically if they land in a good spot compared to a bad spot. So, but we're trying to give you guys the best pre-draft stuff that we can give you. So, we will go ahead and move on here. So I picked 5 trades here. I used the Dynasty Nerds Facebook page. Just picked 5 trades that I thought were interesting. I want to hear you guys on what side you would take, and then kind of walk us through your evaluation on the trade and why you would pick that side. So the first one here is 12-team PPR Superflex tight end premium. Team 1 receives Dalvin Cook, Christian Kirk, Trey Lance, and a 2022 first-round pick for Jonathan Taylor. Is that too much to give up for the best running back in the league, or is that on par there?
Boy, that was talk about getting value back. I think if I'm the one selling Jonathan Taylor, I absolutely love the package I got back because, Dalvin Cook is still an RB1, so you're getting that similar type of production back. You got Christian Kirk, who's going to be the wide receiver 1 in that Jacksonville offense, someone I think Trevor Lawrence will attempt to lean on. In a super flex, you got Trey Lance, who I think is one of the best dynasty QBs you can get right now as well. And then plus it obviously doesn't hurt to get a draft pick.
Yeah, I can't believe the haul that dude gave up to get Taylor. I understand it, especially if the dude talking to him was hyping him up. But oh my Lord, man, that dude sold the whole farm.
Yeah, I agree. Jonathan Taylor, you're gonna have to give up a lot to get him, but I think that Team 1 gave up way too much here. I mean, Dalvin Cook, he's getting older, but you still probably got a top 5 back for the next at least year or two. Christian Kirk, he's been nothing really all that great so far, but I mean, he now goes to Jacksonville where he's probably going to be the number 1, at least for the time being. And you have a quarterback there that we all think is about ready to take the next step with his new coach. And then you got Trey Lance and Superflex. You're giving up a quarterback that has a ton of upside, especially with that team in San Francisco. Plus, you're giving up a first-round pick. I mean, depending on where that is in the first round, I mean, if you gave up a top 3 pick, you're missing out on guys like Isaiah Spiller, Breece Hall, guys that actually could be very good in the league here. So I just think that he gave up too much. I love Jonathan Taylor, but that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a ton. That's an absolute ton. I can't that one.
Yeah. Moving along here. Team 1 receives, and this was not me, Nick, so don't look at the team name here. Team 1 receives Kyle Pitts, Devonte Williams, a 2023 first, 2 2023 firsts. Team 2 receives George Kittle, DK Metcalf, Cam Akers, the 1-1 this year, the 4-4 this year, a 2023 second, and a 2024 fifth. This is a super flex PPR. I'm not sure how many teams. What do you guys think here?
Well, I'm always a proponent of getting the young studs, so I like the Williams and Pitt side. And it doesn't hurt that you get 2 2023 first in what I think is going to be a much superior class in terms of talent than 2022. I think Kyle Pitts is still the tight end 1 for Dynasty. I know he's not in a pretty situation this year, but the Falcons are going to be getting their quarterback of the future very soon. And even if they don't, I know at least for this year, he's going to be the only guy Marcus Mariota is going to be able to throw to. So that alone is going to give him value by volume. And Melvin Gordon hasn't come back to Denver. It looks like Javonte Williams is going to be that unquestioned running back with the Broncos, and giving him finally a good quarterback in Russell Wilson is only going to increase his value as well. So you're getting 2 guys who, in my mind, are top 3 for Dynasty at their respective positions, plus premium draft assets in the coming year. That's I think a side I would take without question.
Yeah, I would agree. I always tend to trend towards the youth. I think you got a great bounty there. You gave up. I'm really confused by the choices and the later round picks on the other side. It's just kind of confusing. It feels like he just picked up his kitchen sink and threw it at him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and throw out the 4-4 in 2022 and the 2024 fifth. That's not really something that I really care about. But I might go the other way on this. The 2023 firsts are nice, but you got George Kittle, who's still a fairly young tight end. I mean, he's getting up there, but he's still only like 27, 28. So he's still got quite a bit of years left. DK Metcalf is going to be possibly, if they decide to trade Lockett, like the rumors has been out there on. DK Metcalf is going to be really the only target there. Cam Akers, I know he didn't look great, but that offensive line was failing big time for the Rams last year. And he looked pretty good in his rookie year. So he's a third year player now. He's still young. Plus that 1-1. I mean, if it was me, I'm taking Breece Hall with that. And Breece Hall is going to be a stud. So plus you get that 2023 second. On the other side, Pitts, he's going to be the only target there. But, I mean, he's probably going to be getting thrown to by Marcus Mariota. So how great is that? Long term, there's a lot of questions with him. And then Devonte Williams is nice, but I don't know. I don't know if he's like leagues apart from a Breece Hall and a Cam Akers. So
let me ask you this. I mean, are you more comfortable with Kyle Pitts and Mariota, or are you more comfortable with DK Metcalf and Drew Lock? Because
that's a good question.
That's the problem here. I think that's where Charlie's coming from this too, is that yes, we expect Trey Lance to be great, but we don't know it yet. So George Kittle is, we know what Kittle is. We don't know what Lance is per se. We know what Metcalf is with Russell. No idea what Metcalf's going to be with Drew Lock or whoever the heck else they bring in.
That's true. That's true.
I'm also more of a believer in Mariota, I guess, because we saw Mariota succeed in the opportunities that he got in Vegas, and we knew that he could play well in certain circumstances as well back when he was with the Titans. So I think he's got the experience and he's got some talent to succeed, and we haven't really seen the same from Drew Lock. So that was also Drew Lock. So that was a differentiating factor for me in this looking at this trade.
I guess the way that I was looking at it is Pitts is my number 1 dynasty tight end. Kittle is probably my number 3, and it's not that big of a difference right now. Akers and Breece Hall I would take above Javonte Williams, because you got two young stud running backs compared to one young stud running back. So you got more depth on the team. But I mean, it's close. I just think that I would definitely go on the right side with team 2. But it's definitely close for sure. Moving on here. Sorry. Team 1 receives Allen Robinson and Dawson Knox. Team 2 receives the 1-7 and 2023 second. What do you guys think?
I think I take the player side. Allen Robinson just put himself, we talked about this earlier, he just put himself in a really good situation with the Rams. We're going to have the best quarterback throwing in the ball he's had in his career. I think he's still got plenty left in the tank to produce at a quality level. And Dawson Knox, again, same thing. He's got Josh Allen throwing him the football. What more could you ask for? Dawson Knox proved himself as a very good red zone threat. And in my book, a top 10 tight end for fantasy and dynasty as well. And 2022, the 107, it's kind of towards the middle of the pack, which is solid, but it's not great. Like if we were talking, the 102 or the 103, I might have a different feeling about this, but towards the back half of the draft plus a second round pick, it's not enough to move the needle for me.
Yeah, I think the values are somewhat close for the players. I do towards veteran players, but this one does intrigue me. I love Knox. I love his situation. I love everything that they got going on in Buffalo. And like I said earlier, I believe have a great season this year. I think he's finally going to get out of the mire that was his previous team, and I think he's got a lot to show. So as much as my gut tells me to stick with my pick, because that's what I do, I'm going to go with the player side on.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with player side too. 1-7. I like to put names to the picks. So 1-7, you're probably looking at maybe I would say probably one of those quarterbacks.
Yeah, I was about to say probably like a $1 Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, the quarterbacks aren't great this year, so I mean, I guess it depends on landing spot. But you got Allen Robinson, who still probably got another 2 or 3 years left of good production now that he's got a quarterback thrown to him. And then Dawson Knox. The only thing that scares me about that is they did just sign O.J. Howard.
Ooh, true.
So does that take away from Dawson Knox in this situation? So, but you don't know what you're going to get from the draft picks coming up. And like I said, middle of the road. If it was like a 1-1, 1-2, I would take the picks, I think.
Yeah.
But 1-7, it's kind of a toss-up this year. So, moving on here. 10-team Superflex PPR half-point tight end premium. Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle for Amon-Ra St. Brown, the 1-8, the 3-8, and a 2023 second-round pick. Who you guys got?
Who the hell made that trade?
Yeah, Jesus H.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's unquestionably just McCaffrey and Kittle. My goodness, especially in tight end premium. Are you kidding?
I agree.
What moron did that? I like the good.
I agree. This one was pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, Amon-Ra, that's all fine and good. He's a nice young player, but that doesn't even compare to 2 top 10 players at their respective positions. I mean, there's not much else to say except yuck. It's just
Yeah, I feel like you should have took that red marker and just put it across the entire screen.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it. My goodness, what a
I think that the 22 3-8 and the 23 second round need to be first round picks.
Yeah,
at the very least. So team 2 kind of got smoked here in this deal. Christian McCaffrey still has a lot of production left if he can stay healthy. And George Kittle, like I said, tight end premium is number 3 right now. So team 2 got smoked. And then the last one here, Deshaun Watson and Rex Burkhead for Case Keenum, Demetric Felton, and a 2024 third.
that comment on the bottom.
Yep, I kept that on there for a reason.
I'm glad you left it there. That perfectly describes it. You've got to be fucking kidding me. Pardon my language. But that has to be said because that is one of the worst trades I think I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Top 10 dynasty quarterback and Rex Burkhead. Just Watson alone makes this trade ridiculous. What are you doing? You're getting in a 32-team league.
Yeah.
Third-round pick, Case Keenum and Demetric Felton. You got some mental issues.
I agree.
I 100% agree. My first thought was, who the hell is trading Rex Burkhead? Was who the hell is Felton?
Yeah, Stormblast got smoked here.
That is nuts. Like, I thought it was crazy when we saw, what was it, 2 years ago, Rob Gronkowski go number 1 overall in our fantasy draft.
Yeah.
I hope that guy got banned from Sleeper.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, if I'm anybody else in this league, I am voting to kick this kid out of our league.
Yeah, for sure.
That feels like collusion at its finest.
It has to be. There's no way around it.
That guy either knows absolutely nothing about football, or they're colluding. There's no other explanation for that. That's just awful.
Taking Deshaun Watson out of this, I think it's still close for Rex Burkhead. These guys. So take Deshaun Watson out, and I think I might rather have Rex Burkhead.
That's awful. That's so gross.
Yeah.
I have nightmares about this. This is
yeah, it's pretty bad.
Awful.
So that's all I got there. I figured we'd end it on that one here. So, but thank you guys for tuning in. We got some good stuff going on. We got our team articles going. This week was the players to buy in a rebuild. So make sure you check that out. I just put up an article about don't freaking out about Devonte Adams. He's going to be fine. As always, you can see us at the Fantasy Coaches, fantasycoaches.com, or you can hit us up on Twitter. I'm at dmeany9688. Go ahead and drop you guys' Twitter handles.
Yep, you can find me on Twitter at @FF_ChuckV. It's where I post all my content.
At in Lapthorn.
So, yeah, that's all we got for you guys, and we hope that the NFL continues to give us breaking news like it's been, because it's been fun. So,
yeah, it's been fun.
We will see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Later, guys.
We'll catch you later.